We are back on the topic of Need for Speed 2019. This video is all about brake to drift. Now this phrase, I don't know where it came from. Community is a collective made. I think I had some influence on the whole thing, but basically, brake to drift. Do you like it? Do you not? I want to know in this video. This is going to be a big point of this series going forward. Opinions. You guys, what do you think? Now, I'm not just going to be here talking about brake to drift in general. I'm going to be showing you some stuff that we've dug up from the internet, and I think you're going to find this pretty interesting. I came across this video that is basically showing us that you can do some tweaking around in Need for Speed Rivals, and you can not only just disable brake to drift, you can completely gut it out and bring it back to what it should really be, which is pretty logical physics in my opinion. So in the Easy Drive debug menu, there's a whole bunch of things that you can tweak around with, play around with. The general kind of mod menu that you expect to see in the game. There is actually an option for disabling or changing the handling prototypes, but apparently they don't actually do anything, so that's one downside. But they then carried on looking into the video to figure out if there is actually a deeper way to look at this. So this was actually made by Speedy Heart. It was brought to my attention on Twitter, but it made me think. It's definitely made me think. In the console, they managed to find drift components, and they basically disable it completely. They gut it out. The brake to drift is gone. That's it. That's all it was. And so what it seems like is that the brake to drift was an add-on physics-wise to the normal physics. So ripping that out, at that current stage of development, it was possible. You could just totally do that. So now, it's driving around without brake to drift. It's a very good video. The graphics, again, on the high settings, whatever, but it gives you a good demonstration. So as you can see now, the car is driving around as a car should. It's oversteering towards the limit when you push it to that limit. No, it's not just randomly going into a drift. It's actually magical. And you can turn really well. And it looks like you can spin out. And to me, that's exactly what I've wanted. Sure, the imports are janky and stuff because they've been, as I'm mentioning here, it's been made for the drifting. Obviously, the controls and stuff would have been updated once the drifting was in place. But when they knew pretty early on probably that we're going to be doing drifting, the game was designed for that. But it looks like it was totally doable. A bit more tweaking and this would have been perfectly acceptable. And you're thinking, hey, we could disable brake to drift in payback. It didn't work very well. You put it on and you would lose every single race. Well, this video once again goes a step further and is going to demonstrate to us the difference between the two. Is it slower than brake to drift? Because that's the main thing here. I get kind of infuriated that the grip driving is slower in Payback because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's even 2015. 2015 was worse. Payback was better. I said the handling was good, and it was very good at slower speeds, as I came to find out. But now it is comparison time, as I mentioned earlier in the video. And as you see on the left is brake to drift and grip with the stripes on the car. You'll see the cars take the corner, and lo and behold, the grip car is actually doing a little bit better because it's not losing traction as much. It's losing traction, and you could definitely make that into a drift. That's the cool part about it. I don't hate drifting. I want to see drifting appreciated more when it takes skill. So if you drift a grip car, you would be better appreciating stuff. But as you can see here, very clearly the grip is doing better. In that naturally, that's how it would work. So in my head, Ghost naturally have disabled or messed up the grip on purpose, right? Did they genuinely, in Need for Speed Payback, for example, make the handling of grip worse for the sake of the fact that most people are going to be on drift and maybe aren't going to be very good, and they thought maybe grip people are going to be a bit better, and they made it worse in that case and put us all traction control on and stability and all this stuff that really, like, it's like an insane level of traction control that just doesn't let you actually drive, as you've probably seen. It's kind of like they've got a dumbed down version of the drag cars. The drag cars do not turn, and it's infuriating. That's case scenario number one, but case scenario number two is obviously that, well, maybe naturally in them focusing on the drift mechanics and fixing the drift mechanics from the previous 2015, they in turn, with some updates, messed up the grip because they had to do some changes physics-wise, and doing things physics-wise is the underlaying. it's going to affect both types of handling model, whatever you do to it on the front end. But that gets me to the point of the video. I know there's a lot of people out there that actually enjoy the physics. I know that's the case. I know that the core Need for Speed audience want some grip driving. We all know this. It's been pretty clear and voiced many times. We want it like the old games, where if you slide, it feels good to do so. Like with Speed Breaker, when you get into that drift, there's nothing better. But the majority is not the core. The majority, example, 2015 has been played by 10 million players on PlayStation 4 alone. That gives you a good idea. Obviously, PS4 is probably the most popular platform for the game. What's the solution here? Is my question. What is the solution? Obviously, solution number one, the ideal, which is never actually going to happen, is that they rip out brake to drift completely, except on drift cars. I don't care if it's on drift cars, as long as I can make my grip car slide a little bit myself, traction off and such. I will make it will feel more rewarding in a way, in a sense, being a slider that I prefer the more hardcore handling. But if I pull off a drift, I feel better. It's going to be difficult. I'll make a drift car as well if I want to. In my head, that's the best way. The Crew, for example, it has, in my opinion, some of the best arcade handling because the cars grip and the drift cars drift. I'm not saying it's the best in the business in terms of how it actually plays, but in terms of how they've laid it out, that's how I want it to be. I want my car to do what I want it to do, and that's frustrating that I can't do that in a game that's about customization. But that's not going to happen. As I said, they're not going to split the handling and mess up the fan base, and they've done that too many times. I don't want to take that risk. So what is the solution to this predicament? In my head, the only obvious solution, again, please, in the comments, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear what you think would be the best solution in your head. We need to have both pretty balanced, and part of me feels like you get that speed boost when you drift in 2015. It's pretty obvious when it happens, and it was weird. It felt very strange. They managed to master it in Payback. It doesn't feel as aggressive, but they need to work more on slowing down the drift and speeding up the grip. It's pretty basic. The foundations are there. The handling works well. You're limited in turning at circle on Payback. That's the main issue. Everything else is fine. The grip works fine. It's the turning circle. It's been ridiculously limited because you're expected to turn from the back of your car, it would seem like, by getting into a drift, obviously. So in my head, remove that limitation, grip's going to be a little bit faster. Okay, that's an issue for the casual fan base side. But here's my solution: get rid of some of that bloody speed boost on the drift car. It's just logical. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's infuriating, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you get a speed boost? I know it's to keep the momentum and that kind of thing, but please, really? I don't know. To me, I think that is the only solution, and if they can't get it to work, though, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. I don't care. The brake to drift is acceptable to me, but a game about customization should allow me to customize the way the car drives. But again, I could be completely wrong. You can disagree with me every single way. Whatever. That's what these videos are all about. Please let me know your thoughts. But I want to show you this video to show you that they were at a stage where these two would be definitely comparable. Someone that was good at drift could keep up with someone that's good at grip, and vice versa. I think the grip would definitely win per se. But is that really a bad thing? If you think about it, leaderboards obviously are the main probably concern, because speed lists competitively, are they really done that much to really affect that? You could have speed lists that are dedicated to a handling type if you really wanted to do the segregation and have the competitive side of it. But let's be real, leaderboards are usually done between friends. No one cares about public leaderboards. Maybe the 1% care about the public leaderboards when they're actually really quick. And if they are quicker on drift, they will go with drift. If they're quicker on grip, they will go with grip. It doesn't matter to them. But most people will be comparing stats and times and racing against friends. Our friends aren't necessarily going to be a million times better than us. So if I'm a good driver and I'm in drift, and drift is maybe a little bit slower than grip could potentially be, but I'm better and I'm drifting than my friend that's in grip and prefers that handling model, I'm still gonna win because I'm a better driver. You know, overall to me, it's just they're focusing too much on, oh, we want it to be a competitive game, when let's be real, the only competition you see is driving down a straight line down the damn airstrip. No one is doing grip, drift, whatever racing. They're just going up and down the drag strip all day, every day, and it's kind of it's insane, honestly. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I want to hear you guys fire back with your opinions. I would love to know. But hopefully you enjoyed that little video. Again, please show some love and support down below in the comments, and in the description down below you will find the video that I showed you where the grip versus drift was shown in Need for Speed Rivals by Speedy Heart. Thank you so much for finding this and taking the time to do this, because it's given me a little bit of a playing field to be like, look, you could totally do it. You've got really close before. Can you imagine? It would have been great if they just kept that. Anyway, be sure to smash that subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.